So I was gonna post this video last night, but I don't know why. I was just really tired after watching the Dana White Contender Series and immediately went to bed. But I need to talk about this because I don't want to talk about the Raja Jackson situation anymore. I'm a little bit tired of making videos about it. So I need something else to talk about right now. And there's no fights this weekend, so I guess we'll talk about this week's Dana White Contender Series. All right. Overall, I think it was a incredible, I mean incredible episode. I rate the fighters who came on here a lot more than last week, and I thought that last week was already hard to top. But I believe that a lot of these fighters, they have a lot of potential. All right, they're also fighting in very shallow divisions, which I also like. So that means that these fighters will probably get like big, big ranked opponents or like big named opponents very quickly. So I'm very interested to see a lot of these fighters bloom as like UFC fighters because we need some talent in these divisions. But yeah, I'm gonna be reacting to every single fight on this card and just give my overall recap of the fight and what I think about these fighters who won their contracts. All right. So we're gonna start off with Dante Johnson versus Darian Abi. If you guys didn't see this fight, Dante Johnson, I don't think he's like the most technical guy, but what I really like is he's very aggressive. All right. He is like very small. All right. That's like the one thing I'm very worried about because he's like what 5'8" in the heavyweight division. And it's not exactly like he's like built and stocky. Like for a heavyweight, he's very small. Like he's like what 205 pounds, 215. Yeah, like that's not exactly someone who would normally fight at heavyweight. But I think he using his aggression and the fact that he does look like he has like very good technique for like compared to most heavyweights, I think Dante Johnson can go pretty far. Right? Is that saying all that much? No, because the heavyweight division isn't exactly the best. But I do think there's a chance that Dante Johnson gets ranked, right? Once he fights someone who actually understands technique and is like twice his size, I think that's where Dante Johnson's gonna struggle. But I don't think Dante Johnson is really gonna fight someone like that until he gets into I'd say like the top 10-ish. All right, from there I could see Dante Johnson struggling, but like outside the top 10 and especially outside the rankings, he's just gonna be fighting fat blobs who should be like at middleweight. So I think Dante Johnson, using his athleticism, using his aggression, power, speed, all of his physical attributes, and on top of the fact that he actually trains his technique somewhat, I think Dante Johnson is gonna look very nice in the unranked sections of the heavyweight division. And I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a ranked opponent pretty soon because the heavyweight division is in need of some prospects right now. All right, now up next we got Manuel Sosa versus Christian Perez. Now, I thought that Christian Perez was gonna win this fight because I thought Christian Perez just looked like the more technical fighter, the more well-rounded fighter, and like he was doing some work early on, like he was landing some ground and pound shots. He was trying to go for submissions, but Manuel Souza was able to defend. I don't think Manuel Souza is going to be able to get into the rank section of the lightweight division. Like I do think a lot of fighters will just be able to take him down. Maybe Sosa doesn't get submitted, right? And maybe there's a chance that Sosa does what he does in like what he did in this fight against Perez, where like he just kind of got taken down for the first two rounds before like coming back in the third round because Christian Perez got tired. But yeah, I don't expect much from Sosa in terms of like getting into the rankings, right? Like from what I've seen, his wrestling is a clear weakness, but he is very fun. All right. I'm expecting a lot of banger matchups out of Manuel Souza, win or lose. So I think that's a good thing. But unless he like polishes up his wrestling, I don't see him getting that far. But nonetheless, very fun fighter, and I'm glad that Dana White signed him. All right. So it's gonna be very interesting to see who the UFC gives him. All right. I don't think Dana White's gonna be all that thrilled to give him like a decent caliber wrestler because again, Christian Perez was just taking Manuel Souza down for the first two rounds at will. So I do think Souza's gonna struggle there. But yeah, I if you give him like a primary striking matchup, I think Souza's gonna do very well. And he's just gonna put on banger performances because he hits very hard. He always presses forward. He's very aggressive, and he doesn't know when to quit. So I those are very nice attributes from Sosa. I just don't think he's going to be able to polish his game well enough to get into the rankings. But still, he's going to be a very fun fighter. So I can't wait to watch him in the UFC pretty soon. All right, now moving on, we got Abdul Rahman Yakyayev. Yeah, that's a tongue twister of a name. Yeah, he fought Alik Lorenz. I think this was the most impressive fight on the card because Yakyayev just destroyed this man in 30 seconds. Like, yeah, you could say that Lorenz kind of quit after getting wobbled, but like again, he got wobbled, right? Like, it takes a pretty elite level fighter to get wobbled and then like try to get his wits about him, like and try to like look to wrestle, get take the opponent down, recover, and then try to like comeback win. All right, that you need to be a good fighter to do so. But based on what I've seen, Abdul Rahman Yayev, right? Maybe he didn't fight the best level of competition, all right? But Yakayev shows some good promise. Again, he butchered through this man. Like there isn't much to talk about. He just like kneed him to the face, and as he's wobbled, like he hit him with the left hook, and then to beat the shit out of him from there. All right, it was a very crazy like 30 seconds or like as long as the fight lasted. And I think Yakayev, he's gonna do well in the middleweight division. All right. I think he can do oh wait, no, it's light heavyweight. Oh yeah, so he's gonna do even better because the light heavyweight division is kind of a barren wasteland. So if Yakayev I think he asked for a fight in Vancouver. I say give him a fight in Vancouver. Like I think you could definitely put some sort of like random light heavyweight on the Vancouver card, and I'm very I'm very high on Yakyayev because I don't know he just dominated his opponent on the Dana White Contender Series, and yes, even though he was like a -1,000 favorite or sorts, like it's been a while since a -1,000 favorite really delivered. All right, the only one I can recount off the top of my head is Malcolm Wellmaker against Chris Moutinho. Right outside of that, these -100s, 1,000 favorites, they haven't really been able to cash out. So it's nice to see that Yakyayev was able to cash that out. So good job for Yakyayev, and hope he fights very soon on the Vancouver card. All right, now up next we got Marcio Barbosa versus Damon Wilson. Damon Wilson, I was kind of rooting for him. He was training. He had this whole story about how he's training with Dominic Cruz. He's like living on Dominic Cruz's roof or something like along those lines. And like Dominic Cruz was kind of hyping this man up because Wilson, is one of his training partners. And I did think that Wilson was looking pretty good. Unfortunately, he just got caught repeatedly with the right hand. And Barbosa, he hits pretty nasty, right? I think Barbosa was just kind of waiting to see what Damon Wilson was going to throw at him. But once Barbosa realized that this guy doesn't really have anything threatening, because Damon Wilson, like, he was fighting well, but he didn't throw anything where, like, he could potentially knock out Marcio Barbosa. Like Damon Wilson was doing the classic move around leg kick, move around jab to the face and leg kick. Like he was fighting like a NPC MMA fighter. And Barbosa realized, hey, I could just step in with the right hand because he doesn't have any answers for that. And Damon Wilson, I'll give him this though. He's very tough, but unfortunately he got clipped one too many times. And Barbosa was able to get a round one victory over Damon Wilson. It was a very it was a very vicious knockout, and I was genuinely surprised that Damon Wilson lasted as long as he did. So Mauricio Barbosa, I think he's a decent prospect to be out on the lookout for. Right? I don't know how far he can get into because I don't think we've really seen that much of his game because again Barbosa. he kind of just waited until Wilson like showed all of his cards. Like I don't really think Barbosa really did anything in terms of like setting up traps or anything like that. So it's gonna be very interesting to see how Barbosa will react when he fights someone who actually can put you away and someone who's actually a heavy grappler. All right, but from what I've seen, Barbosa, he's a very educated MMA fighter, so I think he'll do pretty well. And last but not least, Ryan Gondra versus Trent Miller. Ryan Gondra, uh, he just destroyed Trent Miller in the first round. Right, a lot of these Dana White Contender Series guys, they're getting first round knockouts lately. So hey, this is a very good season. All right, the first episode a little bit lackluster, but outside of that, I'd say this is a great season so far. And Ryan Gondra, there wasn't much to talk about. I think he just I don't know, was it a left hook as Trent Miller was trying to come in aggressively? I don't know why I can't remember, but yeah, Ryan Gondra I just remember it being a nasty finish. So of course Dana White's gonna give him a contract. Once again, we got another episode where all five winners were able to get contracts, and I'm very happy about this. All right, they're not all necessarily like the technical fighters, or they're not all necessarily gonna be like high ranked fighters. I believe. All right, I don't think many of these guys will get into like the top five of their divisions, but they're very fun to watch, and they're always looking for a finish, right? Again, it's going to be interesting to see what happens if they fight someone who's like decent caliber within their division. But I'm actually glad that all five of these guys got signed because all five of these guys, very fun to watch, and I can't wait to see them make their debuts very soon. All right, that's gonna be for today's video. If you want me to make another video about Raja and Rampage Jackson, just leave it in the comments below. All right, I don't really want to, but at the same time, I do feel like I need to address Rampage Jackson because I don't know, he's kind of reaching with some of his takes. But feel free to let me know. All right, if you guys don't want it, then I'm not gonna do so because I'm a little bit fatigued with that whole situation. But yeah, other than that though, leave a comment down below if you guys want to see more videos like this. And make sure to like and subscribe if you do want to see more videos like this. And other than that though, I'll probably see you guys later. Peace.